the Wayne Ayers Podcast. The Wayne Ayers Podcast. Woohoo! Time to wake your ass up for a blessed day.
This is the Wayne Ayers Podcast. I don't know what episode this is. I think it's 34. I don't know. Anybody that's watching knows you guys are the real MVPs. Have a special guest on this time, Elysabeth Lamoureux. No, just kidding. Elysabeth Lamoureux, what's up?
I totally expected that to happen.
I just had to.
Every time.
How you doing today?
I'm alive and well, so we're good.
How's life been treating you? How's life been treating you?
It's been busy. A lot going on.
She's like, I'm nervous. I've never done this before.
I've never done this before.
Oh
I was expecting like a script to follow or something like that,
This is not acting. What you mean? It's just an acting class or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to, get into Hollywood. I thought this was, my first step.
Oh, snap. Hopefully somebody here, listens to you and gives you an opportunity to, I don't know what you were trying to do. But, yeah.
Definitely, a voice actor.
If you guys don't know, Elysabeth is my, protege. That's
Yikes. In what aspect have I followed your footsteps?
I don't know. I just felt like saying that. I just felt like a cool thing to say. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Elizabeth's like one of the goats from Bremerton, my hometown. I think everybody kind of knows at this point. But, she's doing her thing, registered nurse and everything and killing it. Why am I covering the mic? But, yeah, go ahead. Can you talk about yourself? I don't know why I'm
talk about myself.
Yeah, let's talk.
I'm kind of in love with myself, so it's really easy to do that. So.
I mean, like, really, just go into like Bremerton and then to now. Well, that's kind of like plain, but you know what I'm saying. Just talk about yourself, like explain like what you like your journey and then, yeah.
My journey. So I guess probably started with, R.A. Atkins, the main goat.
Okay, not like that. I mean, you can shout out to Coach Atkins,
Always.
God, let's just shout him out real quick before he makes it seem like,
you just shout about.
Shout out to Coach Atkins, one of the greatest fitness trainers of all time. If you're in Washington, go link up with him. He'll get you right. I need to go link up with him. But anyway, I mean, like, Liz, you know what I mean? God, bro.
Man, but he's the beginning. Got me into, I was already, Mountain View Middle School basketball,
Okay, all right. Let's just forget Bremerton for a second.
Yes.
Let's just go from no sports related, just your career. Let's just go into your career.
My career. So basically, I got my degree in biology, and then a couple months later, enrolled into an accelerated nursing program in St. Louis, and then, graduated top of the class, per usual, and then got a really dope job. A
slight flex right there. Just try to put a light flex in there, but okay.
I mean, the flex is the third degree at 21, but I was gonna let that slide.
Wow,
but
really try to flex on the podcast before.
And then I got a really dope ICU job at a really good hospital called Barnes-Jewish Hospital out in St. Louis, and worked there for a year, and I'm on my way to be a travel nurse the ICUs at Yale University Hospital.
Yale University. So what made you want to go to nursing?
Well, the big plan, I guess, being just a nurse is a baby step to the bigger plan of being, a CRNA and sitting at the head of the bed in the OR,
For people who don't know what that is, what is that?
So it's a nurse anesthetist, and basically I have the skill level of an anesthesiologist, just a different route to get to the same result, essentially.
So what's like your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal, I would say, is to eventually open my own practice with hopefully another CRNA. You know, I don't really want to open it with surgeons, but you know, if I find some good ones, I might. And then hire some surgeons and do some type of private practice and just kind of run things like that.
Okay. Is there anything else you like want to do besides, like, in your, like, let's say, like, what's like something you really want to accomplish in the next year?
I would say I just want to accomplish being able to set my own schedule and being able to just kind of wake up and decide what I want to do that day and not be told that I have to do this or I have to do that to maintain my lifestyle.
So she's like, I don't want to do any more overnights. Okay, I got it. That's what she
No,
that's
I don't want to go into work and have to put more people in body bags. So, you know, private practice and doing cosmetic surgery sounds like the way to go to me.
So how many people have you saved during your time?
Saved in my time? I mean, you know, that's hard to say.
Like an estimate, like 3 million. No, it's kidding.
3 million. Like,
no,
crazy.
Like 30, like, you know, that's just like 30, 40, 20.
30, 40. I mean, I usually have, I've been working like 5-6 days a week. I have 2 patients on any given night. So, I mean, probably, you know, a few hundred, you know, 5, 6.
Over here saving lives, that's important. You know, that's a very important job. You know, not everybody can do that. Okay,
it's rewarding for the most part.
So let's just get into it. Like, what are your thoughts about COVID? I know it's been crazy and everything. Like, what is your whole thoughts about like COVID so far?
My thoughts about COVID, well, I'm on the medical ICU, so we are technically the COVID ICU at my hospital. So I think, I don't think I know that, you know, COVID is very real. It's not just the flu like some people think. It's not fake. It really messes with people on a scale that hasn't really been seen in medicine before, which is why at the beginning it was so hard to really understand what was going on, because we didn't really understand the virus and disease at all. And then once we kind of started to look more into it and understand how to actually help people, you know, people were actually getting off of the ventilator and like being able to, you know, get out of the ICU alive and not, you know, through the morgue. So for anyone that doesn't think COVID is real, I'd say, how can you say something's real when you've got hundreds of thousands of people dying from it? Just because it didn't affect you or it wasn't that bad for you doesn't mean the person next to you didn't lose their mom or their daughter or someone in their family from it. And I'd say that we all just need to show some more compassion for each other and stop thinking that everything is out there to get us, like it's all government conspiracy.
Okay. Oh, dang. Okay, she told pretty much everybody out there. But what do you think about people and like don't want to get vaccinated? Like, because like, let's say like,
the day, it's their body and their choice. But you know, for every action we take, there's always consequences. And if you don't want to do it, I mean, that's cool. But just take a look at when you were born. Didn't you have to have vaccines to go to school? Didn't they do? Isn't this basically, if you look back to the pandemic in the early 1900s, like if you look back, they did the same thing. They had the vaccine cards, they had the mask mandates, they had the requirement of the vaccine. And if we really were taught history and we really knew about history, we would see that really it's just repeating itself a century later.
Okay. My bad. I thought you would keep going. But no, my bad. What do you like? What vaccine do you like recommend people to take that are kind of scared to happen in their bodies and everything? I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I was one of those people at a point. I was like, man, I don't trust these motherfuckers. But like, I eventually got the Moderna twice. Like, so what vaccine do you recommend people to take? Cause I heard like Pfizer had like blood clots and all this stuff. Now I'm like, there's some things out there like, all right, should I take this or should I not? But like, what do you recommend people to take?
So I personally have the Moderna as well. It was the one that was provided by my hospital. They did require the vaccine. And I'm honestly totally for that. In healthcare, you have to have every other vaccine and you have to get the flu vaccine every year anyways. So I'm not really sure why people thought it was a big deal that they required just another vaccine, and it's an mRNA vaccine. They've been doing studies and research on it, and they've been, it's not just something that came up out of the blue from COVID. There's been decades of research going into this beforehand. So honestly, I would recommend just talking to your primary care doctor. And I know, unfortunately, the way that healthcare is set up in America, not everyone has the abilities to see a primary care doctor, or doesn't have one, or they can't afford to go. And you can honestly just go to any urgent care clinic and talk to somebody, and they're going to be a professional. And hopefully, in some states, in some parts of the United States, people will give you not their opinion, but professionally what they should be giving you, instead of saying because of course there are, physicians and medical health care workers that they don't work with COVID directly. So they might not think that it's a real thing, even though if you ask anyone that has directly worked with people who have COVID, they would be get that vaccine, because all of the symptoms that people are having with the vaccine, right? They're having, chest pains, or they're getting blood clots, or they're having cardiomyopathy and stuff like that. All of that is worse when you get COVID. So basically all the symptoms that people are getting are just symptoms that are less severe than what you would get with a severe case of COVID. So, I mean, for anyone that's not thinking about getting it, I would honestly just think would you rather risk getting the likelihood of getting, a mild, side effect of this, versus you end up with a really bad strain of COVID, or COVID really affects you because, you have this, and that, and you end up in the hospital on a ventilator. I've seen 20-year-olds that are intubated, so they have a tube down their throat. I've seen them get put on ECMO, which is basically a last resort for when your body just can't do anything, all of your organs are failing, and you have two hose-sized tubes hooked up to your body, and your blood's just half your blood's damn near out of your body in a machine. 20-year-olds, it affects everyone.
Do you have you're in the hospital all the time? Is there is there a certain rates that people I don't know how I want to say this, but my bad. I'm trying to think how to phrase this, but with people with vaccines, they come in there and have COVID, and then people with COVID that don't have that are vaccinated, what is the rates? Is it are they more just dying that way, or just?
So I can honestly, I work with COVID. I'm on the COVID ICU, so I honestly don't look into other hospitals statistics. I haven't taken the time. I haven't taken my free time to look up COVID statistics, so I can only go off of what I have personally seen in my ICU. And I do want to acknowledge that the ICU I'm in is the biggest ICU. We're the biggest hospital system in Missouri. We're the number one hospital in Missouri, 17th in the US. So we get a lot of sick patients. Yes, we absolutely get the sickest of the sick up there. So I do recognize that. But from what I have seen in my ICU, it's people who are unvaccinated who are in there. And the people that are vaccinated are immunocompromised, meaning they've had something go on in their life, where they've had a transplant, or they just for some reason are requiring medicine that compromises their immune system to make it so they really don't have any whether it be chemo or the transplant or something like that. So those are the people who are vaccinated that we're seeing. I personally have not seen somebody who is vaccinated, fully vaccinated and like otherwise healthy really in the ICU that's been serious. Like I've seen maybe 1 or 2 people that have gotten their shots and have like some other comorbidities like COPD or interstitial lung disease or just something else, that another organ in their body that makes it so they have to be in the ICU for a little bit, but they're not intubated, they're not paralyzed and like put on their belly, which is what we do when like you're not oxygenating enough. And you know, you have like, we need to figure out a way, like we put you, like we sedate you, and for the most part we paralyze you and put you on your belly to allow the other side of your lungs to open up and, you know, better oxygenate you. So like we don't do that with the people, like we don't get the people in the ICU that are vaccinated. For real.
Yeah. Jesus. I don't even know what to say that. That's just sad. That's okay. That's just sad as well.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's been a very hard year. And there's people like, I've been doing this for a year and some odd months in the COVID ICU, and then there's other nurses and physicians and respiratory therapists and, you know, that have been doing it since the beginning. And
So,
they
like,
are just burned out.
So like, how do you like deal with your mental health? 'Cause I know there's like a lot of healthcare workers that can't really just like take it and everything. Like, how do you like have anything at your hospital that just like you go talk to anybody, or because it's just a lot of dead bodies popping up, and then you know it's kind of like it's traumatizing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually found a lot of support. One of the chaplains there, who is frequently on night shift, when he would come around, I would frequently have like conversations, just kind of talking about things. So I found that it like helps to talk to people that understand. For the most part, you know, it's very hard. Like if anyone has anyone in healthcare that's working directly with COVID, I would just offer help or support in any way that you can. It's very hard for someone that's not in the health industry, like healthcare industry, to understand really what we're going through. And a lot of us don't really want to put that on people too, because if like we told you the things we see and the things we have to do, it's very like you have to grow a thick skin for it. It's very hard to do and you sadly get used to it. But you always get that, you know, 1 or 2 that really hit you.
If you don't mind, you don't have to if you don't want to, but can you like describe like what are some things you see so people kind of like just like okay, because not like honestly I'm like one of those people that don't understand. I'm not in the hospital. If you're not in the hospital every day, you're not really gonna understand. And then you just see a bunch of healthcare workers out, so you kind of see like damn, something's really going on. But if you don't want to answer it, it's cool. Don't even.
Yeah. I mean, you see it all. You see, like, even when I was a student, I was working, like, in my last semester, I was in the ED as a student nurse, and, like, I saw multiple gunshot wounds come in and, like, people either getting shot or, like, trying to commit suicide. I saw just a lot of, like, domestic abuse and just, like, a lot of people who were addicted to drugs and like stuff like that. And then working with COVID, you just see, like, I've seen families die, like grandma, mom, dad, like all in the ICU. Like we had this one family and they was just like, there was 3 of them, and just 1 week after the other, like they all just passed because we couldn't like do anything else. So like we see a lot. Like being a nurse, you get a little more, I wouldn't say like attached, but you get a better feel for the family. You're at bedside with the patient more. We are allowing family to visit at this time. So like you get to know the patient better, you get to know the family better. Not to say that, you know, physicians and stuff don't, but the patient load is different. So for nurses in the ICU, like I have 2 patients, and in the ICU, like they're pretty sick, so they keep me busy. But only having 2, you get to know them pretty well. And then like it's really hard when you do get to know them and you get to know their family. And then you do everything that you can and it's still not enough. You just kind of go home after that last shift, just like really defeated. And like for me, what really got me like recently was like I had a patient who had children, like young children, and just like hearing the children talk to this patient while they were on the vent, like we were about to withdraw support and let them go peacefully, like that was kind of like my breaking point a little bit, was hearing the children like on FaceTime, not even in the room. And so you just kind of have to figure out how to cope with those kind of things. And it's like, you don't know these people, but you get to know them quickly. And, even though I didn't know them for my whole life, I only knew them for like 3-4 days. It still hurts to know that like they're gone. Like you don't really understand it until like you're listening to Britney Spears with them, because that's their favorite kind of, they just wanted to listen to it and jam out while, you're helping them with a bath or like stuff like that. And then they pass a few days later and then you're in the gym and you hear a Britney song and you just break down. You know what I mean? Like, it's just stuff like that like healthcare, like, especially in the ICU and critical care areas, that you just see, it feels like on like an every other week, basis almost.
Shit. No, like I don't even know what to say. Like honestly, that's just like we just
Yeah,
said
it's
about the
hard.
Britney stuff. Like that's really sad. That's like it kind of feels like you're just like starting to meet somebody and you're learning them, and then they're just gone. I don't. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
It takes a while to like get like through it, but you learn the ways, like you learn quickly the ways that like you cope best.
I don't even know where to go from there. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just my bad. I didn't even be okay.
no, you're good.
My
Like
bad.
healthcare workers, we talk about this stuff all the time. Like we have like people hear the things we talk about and they're like, oh my God, how can you guys joke about stuff like that? And it's like, well, we kind of have to have a dark sense of humor to kind of work through it. Like, yeah, it sounds bad, but like we actually lived through that. Like we actually have to go through that. So us
So like,
joking about it isn't like
what
joking.
what stops you from going on like a year vacation? 'Cause I would probably just go on a year vacation. I can do that.
Like sometimes I go home from my job and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And then other days I go home and I feel great because I had a great day and I feel like I really helped people and I made a difference. So it's that feeling of I helped somebody when they needed it today that keeps me like wanting to go back and wanting to help more people.
That's good. Damn. That's gonna be trippy. Okay. Okay. This is the first guest that gotta be trippy on the podcast. Shoot. What do you want to talk about? I'm gonna try to change the subject for a little bit. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, it might not necessarily be my place to talk about it, but anytime you're talking about the medical system, I think we also need to bring up the fact that there's still a huge amount of racism in medicine and within like especially nurses. Like they gatekeep so many of the specialty ICUs from a lot of people of color, and I think that it's not talked about enough. And there's a lot of good people like nurses that are having those conversations on social media, and they're making people more aware of their biases, and they're just having the conversations that we need to have more. So I feel like since I have a spotlight, you have to share that spotlight.
What do you mean by gatekeeping? Like, what, like holding with medicine from somebody, or like, what do you mean by that?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, me, I'm a white nurse in an ICU. In my ICU, we're staffed with, we're supposed to be staffed with 160 people. Right now, we maybe have 50. So we have tons of travelers. Of our staff, the majority of us are white women. There is probably a handful, of Black women and a handful of like Filipino or Latin or Asian women, like Asian people. And so like, if you think about that, so we say like, let's say like maybe like 10 people of 50 people are people of color, and then the other 40 are white women. And so that's what I mean about gatekeeping, kind of like the ICUs and like labor and delivery, and like they're not allowing the people who seem like they have any kind of ethnicity to them into those like settings.
So how do you think like that, like how that should stop? Cause I know like some people like they would feel like comfortable like with somebody they can relate to in the hospital. So how do you think like you could like well, not you personally, but like how do you think like the healthcare system can tackle that?
I think we just need to have those conversations more, and people need to be aware of their biases. I don't think enough people are told like, hey, have you noticed you're telling, certain like I'm speaking like from my experience, and I'm also like bringing in like things that I've seen other nurses post on social media. Like I follow a lot of nurse platforms, and there are a lot of nurses that have like posted other people's things. Like just the other day, I was reading a bunch of like Instagram DMs about different nurses who are part of, the community, say that they were denied a job even though they were qualified for it, but they picked, either a white nurse that was less qualified or a white nurse that was a new grad. So like they're essentially like keeping, nurses of color on the floors instead of in the specialty ICUs, because once you're in the specialty ICUs, you have some more options for, post education. Like if you want to get like a master's or like, a CRNA, they're like gatekeeping those opportunities.
Is there any like organizations that like of that like helps, like say like somebody wanted to reach out to like a certain organization to like learn more or even to help out? Is there any like thing like that or no?
Honestly, I don't, but there's a few people on Instagram like Aisha CRNA or like the Unicorn Nurse RN. Like they're like two really great examples of like Black nurses that bring to light like, hey, I'm saying all this stuff, and if you feel some type of way about it, like you're probably a part of the problem. Like you probably aren't asking the right questions, or you're not being honest with yourself. And so I think if anyone really knew how to guide that, I feel like those two would have the better answers than I would have.
Okay. Do you know their like ads at Instagram? Just in case anybody wants.
No, yeah, that's their ads. It's
Aisha
CRNA, and then
okay.
at the Nurse Unicorn RN.
Okay.
Or the Unicorn Nurse RN. One of those like two.
Gotta go check them out. Good looks on that. That's good to hear. So what's up, man? I haven't talked to you in a while. Well, not really. I talked to you the other day. So you got any planned vacations going on or anything?
Yeah, I got a girls trip. We're going to Rio.
I see I wasn't invited, but it's cool.
Yeah. Just slightly salty about that. Yeah, there's a group of like 8 of us that are, most of us are nurses. A few of them, do some other things, but really we're just gonna have a great time and enjoy the company of other women in Rio on the beach.
Are you gonna look into being a travel nurse out in Rio?
No, I'll probably stay stateside. I think it's already complicated enough for me to try and figure out travel nursing here. I couldn't imagine trying to do that and learn a new language and try to, for me, that's just not where my heart is at. But for the people that do that, and for all the nurses that are coming into the United States taking on that role, like I think it's amazing and dope of them to do that, because that's a scary ass job.
you wouldn't want to learn how to speak Portuguese?
Oh, I would definitely want to learn. It's just for the plans I have set for myself right now, that's not really in the schedule.
So when do you see yourself starting your own practice?
So I would have to go to school first. So ideally, I'll be in school in the next year or two, and then I'll be in school for 3 years, and then 3 to 5 years. So maybe like 10 to 12 years.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
You said how long you'll be in school for?
3 years for my
I
doctorate.
think, and then you said 5 years or something? Oh,
Like
you said,
3
oh,
to 5
okay.
years after that.
Oh, okay. I was thinking totally something. I thought you said you're gonna go to school for 3 years and then you're gonna go to school for another 5. I was like, what are you on, yo?
No.
So like, what makes you like want to go to school? Well, of course you have to be a nurse, but what made you like really like stay in school for the people that don't? Or people that compromise like, hey, should I stay in school and stuff like that? Like what made you really like push through it?
I don't know. I've just always
You like,
had
if I
good
gotta start something, I
opportunities.
gotta finish it, huh?
Yeah.
I
When
feel you.
I start a plan, I usually follow through, or if something better comes along, I alter it. But
Oh yeah, I'm more
I
of the
enjoy
alternate type.
school and learning. So, school was always kind of enjoyable.
What was like your favorite subject? Or what was your least favorite subject?
Honestly, I hated like chemistry and biology in high school and then got a whole biology degree. Like, that shit was so weird to me.
So you have a degree in the subject you hate the most.
Well, I did until I got to college, and then I really started to enjoy the challenge of it. Like, I think in high school, I was more focused on I want to play sports, and I just want to have a good GPA to go to college to hopefully play sports. And then when I got to college and like was taking the classes, I was like, wow, these classes are kind of difficult, but they're a fun difficult.
So you're saying Birmingham High School has terrible education?
Don't put words into my mouth like that.
No, you're really saying that though.
No, I mean, I went there for 2 years. I think I got a solid start.
Oh god. I might not drop the video for this one. Okay, anyway. Yo, I don't even know what to say. Okay, so actually let's get into Birmingham since you got there, the nursing and hospitals. Let's get into it. You already mentioned Coach Atkins, the GOAT. Do you want to talk about your varsity basketball team at Birmingham or no? No, I'm asking you.
I mean, we can pass on that one. There's not really much to talk about.
You're a track star too.
She's a track star.
Liz. Okay, no, Liz, we talking about you. What you want to get into, yo?
Man, I don't really want to. I mean, that was fun and all, but I wasn't really that good. I was kind of, I had fun with everything, and I was decent at everything, but I was never really great at any of them.
Well, damn. Okay. What about college life? How is college? What are your advice for college students right now?
Go to community college if you want. Like, there's nothing wrong with going to community college. You don't have to go straight to a university. You can get that, first 2 years done and save tens of thousands. And honestly, forget the, college name, because that shit doesn't matter. Once you get that degree, it doesn't matter if you went to this state university or that state university, or, all they want to know is, did you get the degree? Did you have an internship at some place? And can we teach you how to actually do your job?
That's also fast. Like, coming from like a boss perspective, like, I do not care what college you come from. Actually, I don't even care if you went to college. I really care if you know how to do the work that needs to be done. So yeah.
Like, really, it's just, can you, do you have a work ethic? Are you gonna be productive for the company? Do you you just you have to sell yourself to these jobs. Like, in the interviews, you have to sell yourself. Like, you got to make them want you. And if they got to pick between you and your state college and somebody who went to Yale, but you had a better interview, they're going to choose you with the better interview because they're not going to give a fuck about that Yale degree.
So like, what was like your like interview like? Like pretend like we're doing an interview to work at Wayne Ayers Hospital. You know, I had to put myself in there.
You would.
I had to put myself in there. What was your interview like? What for like people that are like about to apply to be like nurses and anything? Like what are some questions you heard?
Yeah, it was a while ago, but like
it wasn't a while ago. Liz, you're only like 12 years old. Like, come on, man. You're not. It wasn't a while.
You're right.
ago.
I'm just a super genius. No, I'm just
Yes.
There was like they had like it was a bunch of like situational stuff. So like, you know, I had a job at 16, so I had some job experience at that point. So you know, they would ask like, oh, like how do you handle like juggling multiple tasks, and like how, like if you like give me a time when you were in this situation and you had to come up with a solution, or like situational stuff like that, like how would you respond to a situation that you're uncomfortable with? Or, you know, they asked like some diversity questions. Like I remember them asking like, give me a time when you face a challenge with someone else that was from a different, you know, religion background or something like that from you. Like, and they basically just wanted to know, like, can you problem solve with people who weren't brought up the same way you were brought up, essentially. Like just kind of like stuff like that. But a lot of like situational, how would you do this, or when have you done that kind of questions.
Was there like anything, like did they give you like a practice station, like, okay, this is what this is, or I mean like not like this is what this is, but like, okay, you gotta know like these certain things just for like the patients? Or
no, so like when you start as a new nurse, my orientation was 16 weeks. So for 16 weeks, I was like working with another nurse, and they were teaching me like everything that I needed to know.
Oh, so you didn't even have to go to college to be a nurse then? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I want to put that out there.
I mean, you gotta know like the base.
I was gonna say.
You definitely have to know the base knowledge, because you can't go in there not knowing anything, you know. But like you definitely learn, like nursing school teaches you to be a nurse, not to be like a specialty nurse or like that kind of stuff. So like I learned the basics of nursing, and then when you get to the unit, they teach you like how they do things, like the policies of the hospital, policies of the unit, like how to work with like every ICU is different. So like a cardiac ICU is going to use different drugs. They're going to have different machines. They're going to have different equipment, like stuff like that, than a medical ICU or a neuro ICU. So when you go to each ICU, you have to know the equipment.
My bad. I'm sorry. What's the difference between those two? Like, I have no idea.
Like cardiac ICU, you're gonna get like your heart attacks, or like your ECMO, or like open heart surgeries, and like medical ICU, you're gonna get like your chronic diseases, like the DKAs or the COPDers, or like the liver failures, or, you know, kidney failure, dialysis patients, like stuff like that. And then neuro, you're gonna get all like your brain bleeds and like stuff like that, like brain surgery stuff. Okay. So like each ICU has their own like specific group of patients that they get. So you have to be oriented and knowledgeable on the patients that you get.
If you could work in one like a different ICU, which one would you work
in? I think I would enjoy cardiac, but I like medical, because medical ICU is good because they got so many things going on, and it's all chronic stuff, and they're usually sick. Like when you've got a chronic disease and then you're finally in the ICU, like you're usually there because you're like sick. But cardiac would be fun, but they're very like textbook for the most part. Like open heart surgery, you get done with open heart surgery, within 12 hours you're like extubated and walking around and like stuff like that.
12 hours after open heart surgery?
Yeah,
Do
they
like
want.
so you get the blood flowing and stuff like that, or what
Yeah.
do you do?
I mean, I haven't worked on a cardiac ICU, so I can't really say like specifically for what. But yeah, like they like within 12 hours, like they want you like extubated and up walking around and like doing stuff.
What was like the best piece of advice you received while like during your 16 weeks of orientation?
uh I can't
She's like, they just threw me in there with the wolves.
No, they didn't. They didn't. It also helped that I was a student on the ICU as well, so I was already familiar before I got in there. I guess it would be to just ask questions. Like, doesn't matter if it's a dumb fucking question, if it's something you've done 100 times. Like, if you have a question, ask it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not 100% sure in what you're doing, then you could hurt somebody. Like, you could kill somebody.
That's true.
So
what was like, was there ever like during like your orientation, was there ever a time like you were like hella nervous about like saying like a person, circumstances or anything? Like did you ever make a mistake? You're like, oh shit, I might have just like fucked up like everything, like, or were you just nothing?
I can't say I've had like, let me knock on some wood. I don't even want to say that.
Okay,
no.
my bad. I mean, nothing like probably something you didn't know about, and it was like, something that you thought would be like a big ass like deal, but it was totally fine. Like, was there ever something like that you didn't?
No, not really. I mean, I was taught like I was taught pretty well, and I kind of had.
She's like, I went to school with the greats. She's like, I went to the school with the greats.
No, I never did anything I wasn't sure about. I still don't do, like, if I have a question, I'm going to ask it, even if it's a dumb question, or, I know what I know, and the things I don't know, I ask. So
I'm gonna put you on the spot just in case some of your coworkers, hear the podcast. They probably won't, but they do. Who are like your top 5 coworkers to work with?
My top 5 coworkers. Honestly, a lot of the travel nurses, they pretty much all like, they rotate out. But I've had
Liz, you can't dodge the question. I need some names. I need some names.
Okay, I got Kyle, who is a travel nurse. Shakia, she's really dope, a good friend of mine. Haley is a good person, a good nurse. Caitlin, when she works nights, we had some fun.
I don't know why she really mentioned the names. I thought
I mean, if they listen to this, they listen to it, but
Okay, so since we're on the best, let's just go to the worst. Who's the 5 worst coworkers you have?
Yeah, on that note, I gotta go.
Can we get like one name?
No, I can't even do that.
She's like,
the nursing community is so small that you don't want nothing to bite you in the butt.
No, I'm just messing with. What do nurses do like after work? Like, do you guys like say like a day off? Like, what do you guys be doing? Do you guys like link up and do stuff? Like go Dave?
Like I know on night shift, like we'll go out to breakfast a lot. Like we'll get a group of us and we'll go out to breakfast. Cause when we get off, it's like 7:30 in the morning. So brunch right around the corner. So like I know that was a big thing with like a big group of us was to go out to breakfast. Sometimes with day shift they'll go out for drinks after work, but honestly, like on my days off, I sleep. I catch up on like the cleaning I need to do. I go to the gym, just kind of like, just get back into
watch Attack on Titan, but that's cool. That's one thing she don't watch is Attack on Titan.
Hey, I just need to watch the latest season. I'm not that far behind.
You really wait for English dub to come out.
I just can't read fast enough. I'll own up to that.
It's nothing hard to read. I'm about to watch it tomorrow since my guy's not playing the Super Bowl, but it's okay.
He's not playing in any more Super Bowls.
I think he's coming back.
He's not.
I think he's coming back. He said 45.
Man.
I think Giselle will let him out the doghouse.
I think Giselle wants him to stay his butt home.
Of course he does, but he don't want to watch those kids. He want to go through the football.
He said, "Fuck them kids."
Yeah, if Tom Brady ever watches this, I'm sorry now. People will be bringing out old clips and stuff. Oh, Wayne said this about you.
Hit him up in 20 years.
I want to make sure y'all bring up this clip too. No, just kidding.
On his deathbed.
What are you doing? What are you doing tomorrow? Are you like working tomorrow?
No, I'm actually off for the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh snap! What are you about to do? Nothing.
I'm gonna study.
Sleep? Oh, okay. She said study.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a certification this month.
What is that?
It's so there's different certifications you can get. So I'm trying to get my critical care certification.
What the hell is that? I mean, I'm sorry.
It's just like a certification. It's just like a.
What is it like?
It's like.
What
hey,
do you
I got
like?
this certification. I kind of know what the fuck I'm talking about.
So it's not. So it's kind of like a degree, not sort of, but like.
So I mean, I get it just looks good. It means you went out of your way to dig deep into knowledge about every all these things and take an exam and pass the exam, and it's a really hard exam.
So what's the exam about?
On critical care stuff, so you get questions from every aspect of critical care, ED critical care, neurocardiac, all the systems, stuff like that. So you just you get so used to knowing what you know, being in a pulmonary medical ICU, you get used to the way you do things and the way your hospital does things, and then when you take this exam, you have to learn you have to just re-go through everything and kind of relearn everything that you forgot about other ICUs because you don't use it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask you this. I don't know why. My bad. It's off topic. Well, it's kind of not off topic. Whatever. I don't know. This podcast to be all over the place sometimes. But what are your thoughts about America's healthcare system, or even the government and all that stuff? Do you I know nurses are underpaid, so are teachers and everything. But if you go look up overseas and stuff, it seems stuff is better over there in those departments.
Yeah, so I think it's weird. I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day, and they brought up some points that hospitals are run by investors. People invest in the hospital systems and they expect to get a return, right? So at the end of the day, the hospitals do what they can to give their investors the return they want so that they keep investing into the hospital. It's just a weird system that we have. The reason that nurses' pay doesn't go up as much as it should is because there's so many people in nursing schools that every cycle of a semester, they can just hire hundreds of new nurses instead of paying the experienced ones to stay. So there's just different avenues of it that kind of just we just kind of created a really bad system.
How do you think what should we how do you think we can go about changing that?
I honestly have no idea.
Liz, come on, man. We need answers.
I know.
You're supposed to have the answers, Sway. You ain't Sway. You're supposed to have the answers. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I want to kind of know. Do you know anybody from that came over from another country and I was yo, this is kind of different how.
No, actually, I know a few respiratory therapists that are from India and stuff like that, and they go back home sometimes. Shout out to Raj and Omana, they have my heart. But I don't think they practiced over there. I think they got their degrees here.
Okay. So what do you do you think we should just get rid of the entire Vester thing, or should it be government, or I don't know
how do you switch that over is the problem.
Yeah, I feel a couple
how do you switch everything over from being investor based to then the government runs it? And then when the government runs things, they kind of just do a shit job. I mean, look at our education system.
She's going after the government on the Wayne Ayers podcast. So we're definitely getting shut down this year. We're definitely not kidding.
I mean, yeah, you see how education's going. I could only imagine that if the government were to take over,
you probably go to shit
the same way.
So, is there any way you guys do nurses have a union?
So there's some hospitals that do. California is the only state that's unionized. California is also the only state that requires safe staffing ratios. So like patient to nurse ratios, like California is the only state that says, hey, you cannot have a nurse have more than these amount of patients for this kind of like level of care. No other state does that.
So what's like the ratio of like for you guys?
So like at my ICU, it's, one nurse to 2 patients. But, with the pandemic and with short staffing, like there are ICU nurses out there taking on 4 patients, and that's not safe at all. Like 4 ICU level, like intubated patients, and that's just unsafe for everybody. Like there's just no way, and you have time to adequately take care of those patients. But yeah.
So like, what kind of laws do you want to see like made for like help like health workers out universally?
I definitely want to see like them require like you cannot have like every state needs to have staffing ratios, and I don't think that everyone needs a union. Like unions work for some people and unions don't work for others. Like it just kind of depends. Like everything has its good and bad, and you just kind of have to figure out what works best for you. But definitely safe staffing ratios, and just I don't even know what else.
So is this like one of the reasons why you want to start your own practice? Because it seems like shit is mad complicated.
Yeah, like
in
the things we have to deal with, like a lot of hospitals, like if the patient hits you, like you can't do anything. So like if someone were to be in the ICU and then just punch me in the face, they would be considered violent, and I could do like soft restraints on them. But like that's really it. Like they don't get in trouble like with the law for the most part. Like no police report is filed. But like if that same person came up to me on the street and punched me, I could, do something about it. But like the hospitals don't do anything about it for the nurses. They don't do anything about them, physically abusing them, verbally abusing them, like family abusing the nurses. Like they just don't care.
Oh damn, y'all, it sounds like y'all get treated like mad shit.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people get into nursing and then they leave nursing, because they realize that the hospitals always try and put it on the nurses for things, and they're just kind of like over it, or they're over being short-staffed all the time, or they're over adding so many jobs onto the nurse and the nurse not getting more money. So, like I've had like, if you ask any nurse who's been a nurse for 20 plus years, if they would still go into nursing, like if they were 20 years old today, would you still go into nursing? Like 90% of them are going to tell you no.
Are you one of those nurses?
Not like it was.
Would you still go into nursing if you had to redo everything?
Yeah, I mean, I like my job and I don't mind the busyness of it. I don't mind the busy charting. Like the biggest thing for me that like morally like causes like me to think is like when you have a patient and like we have such advanced technology and we're so like we've gotten so good at keeping people alive that we honestly keep them alive past the point that they should be alive. Like essentially we can keep most people alive for a really long time, and we shouldn't.
Wait, what?
Like for me, it's like when you have a patient and like their wishes were different. So like the patient didn't want to be on life support, but the moment they couldn't make that decision, the family was like, no, we want everything. Okay. So when the family changes the patient's decision, that bothers me. I'm like, how can we, like they have legal documents and then we still have to go with the family's wishes, and stuff like that bothers me, like morally. Stuff where, a patient is brain dead, but the family doesn't want to withdraw or doesn't, well, I mean, if they're like actually brain dead, but like that can be different. That's a whole thing in itself. But like, if you've got, an 80, 90-year-old grandma or grandpa, and they had a stroke or a heart attack or something, and their quality of life is no longer like, they wouldn't be able to go back home. You know what I mean? Like, they would have to go to like a facility, or they can no longer do things for themselves. And then like the family still wants to keep them alive. Things like that kind of morally bother me, because I'm like, this person has lived their life
miserable. Yeah, they're gonna spend their life miserable.
Yeah, they went from being a fully functional 80-year-old to now they're totally dependent, and it's no longer the life they were living. Like, I get, like, everybody, it's hard to make that decision and it's hard to lose family, but like, it just seems selfish to keep somebody alive for the sake of them being alive when they can't do anything for themselves at that age.
Okay.
So like stuff like that kind of like morally bothers me.
So you're going to a new hospital. Yeah. So what are some things you want to see like from there that not see, but like it's not change either. Damn, I kind of suck at this rephrasing shit. Okay, like let's say things you want to see from there that you didn't see from your previous hospital, like standard wise, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you just mentioned, like a patient could possibly hit you and
I don't know once I get there, I guess I'll know, but like as of right now, I don't know like how they handle those kind of situations and stuff like that. Like every hospital has its own like subset of rules on like what like happens in that instance.
Is there like a dream hospital you want to work for?
Not really. I think it would still be fun to go to like the Mayo Clinics or the Johns Hopkins and like stuff like that. You couldn't go wrong going to those places, but I can't say I have a dream hospital.
I don't have a dream hospital.
What is it? It's like, do you have like a dream store you want to go to? Like, I don't know. It's just not really like a thing.
A dream store?
You got a dream store you want to go to?
Yes.
What?
Ralph's. Grocery foods. What do you mean? I'm more of a Sprouts person. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm so sick of you.
Nah. But no, okay.
No, you want to go to Winco and get them fancy cakes.
Facts. I actually went there when I was in Bremerton. I got fancy tea. You can't have Darius because I was staying with him, but yeah.
Thinking about the fancy cakes, huh?
That shit slap. I fuck with fancy cakes. I'm okay dying over fancy cakes because
I know.
those things are everything. I don't know who created them, but they deserve a pat on the back for I respect who created them.
Yeah, you need to find out and give them a shout out, I think.
I'm gonna have them on the podcast. But thank you for making my life great.
And I'm gonna just email them like, really, he's just trying to get free fancy cakes for life. Like, don't buy it.
I am. Like, if they ever listen to this, I do want free fancy cake. Like, honestly, like we can work out something. Like,
you're trying to be an affiliate.
Yeah, it's a sponsorship deal, like free advertisement for a lifetime fancy cakes. I am okay with that. That's probably the only company I would do that for. But yeah. So Liz, are you gonna start a podcast after this? She's like, no.
No.
You should, honestly. That'd be dope. Like just to her, like nurses and like what goes on at healthcare. I don't know if there's like a podcast out there, but that'd be actually kind of dope.
I'm sure there is. It's just you gotta be careful with what you say.
True that.
Because it'll follow you around. So.
Well, let's say you want to retire in 10 years or whatever. Well, probably not because you kind of want to
definitely
practice. But like say like after you retire and all that, you should probably start one.
Yeah, that would be dope. Call out all their flaws.
Oh damn. Okay. She wants smoke. Okay.
No, every system has its flaws. So.
All right. So am I invited to the Brazil trip or no?
Yeah.
This is totally out there. Okay, cool. I'm about to hang out me and my friends.
Yeah, we got this big Airbnb, so we're excited.
Wow, you guys really be going on trips and stuff.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I got a group of women that want to travel and that are good people, and we're all just rooting for each other. And honestly, it feels amazing to have that.
That's good. That's good that you have friends.
Yeah,
I wonder how that's like. My friends don't ever want to go on vacation with me and everything. They don't even invite me nowhere. It's so sad. No, I'm just kidding. But
he's such fire. I'm trying to get people to feel bad for you.
yeah, I'm trying to. Hopefully somebody does.
I hope they don't buy it.
They should, because my friends don't like me. They just put up with me. That's the fact. No, I'm just kidding. But what you got going on tonight? You about to go clubbing?
No, we're still in the pandemic.
I mean, nobody goes clubbing. I swear, there's a whole Super Bowl thing. Like, if you look outside right now, everybody.
No, I know. No, I might go rock climbing.
What?
Yeah.
Did you have Mr. Campbell as a teacher in high school?
No, I was only there for 2 years. Didn't he teach
He taught freshman. He taught everything. He taught freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
No, I didn't.
Mr.
I had
Campbell.
Eric Boyer.
He was a science teacher.
No, he was
A history teacher.
AP World.